Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Driver's Garage. I am working on my winter beater, daily driver 1990 Chevy K1500. As you can see, it is a rusty piece of crap. What are we doing today? Well, I'm doing maintenance. I wish I could say I was putting a turbo on it, but I'm not. I'm doing maintenance on it, and this is something that I need to do, and I've been putting it off for a couple of years. The front CV axles are wasted. I've never done this before. Do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not. Have I ever done this before? Absolutely not. So let's get started. First things first, we got to get it on jack stands, get these tires off. These cars have like these stupid plastic covers over the lug nuts for some stupid reason. It has 16-inch wheels on it, and the driver's side doesn't look too bad, but I know the passenger side is bad, and it makes all these clunky noises if it's in four-wheel drive and I hit anything with dry pavement. So it's winter time. It's actually mid-December, and I'm supposed to drive to Minneapolis this weekend. So I need to get this going. So I've been putting it off because I really don't want to do it. I'm tired of working on this piece of crap. I just want to drive it this winter. You can see it's got the TBI in it. It's had some maintenance. Runs really good. Doesn't have the greatest power. Has really not much oil pressure when it's old. I mean, when it's warmed up, it's got maybe 300,000 miles on the truck. It's a 300,000 mile truck. This used to be a plumber's truck. This is a bed from a junkyard. I used to have a plumber's bed on it, utility bed. That's how I got it so cheap. This is a $1,000 truck. With these tires were brand new when I bought the truck. So I basically got a free truck with new tires. So, anyhow, oh yeah, the TBI, this one has a later model Vortec 350 block in it. It's got an 880 casting block from a Vortec. It still has a plastic timing cover with the leaking crank sensor in the timing cover that isn't plugged into nothing because TBIs do not have a crank sensor. And it's also a roller cam, which is nice. I don't have to worry about zinking the oil. But it is wore out. So I'm pretty sure that engine was a junkyard engine. So anyhow, it still runs great. Doesn't smoke. But it's, TBIs are gutless turds. They're gutless turds to begin with. There's a video on this channel of me actually putting this truck on a chassis dyno. Woo! It made 231 horsepower. Wow. I'm impressed. I'm sure you're impressed. Are you impressed? 231 horsepower out of a 300,000 mile truck. Yeah. Yeah, if you're used to turbo LSs making 1,000 horsepower without even trying, 1/5 of that is terrible. It's terrible. Yeah. So, anyway, let's get started. Okay, first step. Got the car on jack stands, or this side on jack stands. Got the caliper off, and the brake pads off, and the rotor off. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can see how badly this is how bad this side is. It's torn really bad. The other side looks fine, but I'm probably going to replace both. Anyway, and look at my shock. Oh, that's like an old CarQuest shock. Yeah. So, the next step is to get this nut off. And to get that nut off, we need to keep the hub from spinning. So what I'm going to do is just kind of do a pry bar deal like that. And I tried doing it with this impact, and it ain't doing squat. So, oh yeah, there's a couple of specialty tools. The first one is a 35 millimeter impact socket for that. Yeah, 35. I just had to go get that. I had a 36, but it was a little sloppy on that, so I did not want to do that. And as you watch with my Craftsman impact here, my cordless, she ain't getting it done. So I also went to work and got my old school Camel Neufeld pneumatic air impact, and we're going to try that. Okay, so the big impact, I did the job. I got the nut off. That is like a what they call a pinch nut or a self-locking nut. The next is these. I got to take the hub off, and the way to get that is like these. There's these convenient holes in the here to get to those bolts there. And I'm not sure what those are. They look like 15 millimeter, probably are. Let me have to dig into my metric set for that, because I don't do a lot of metric work. I fix 60-year-old cars mostly. So I have a separate toolbox just for metric tools, for wrenches and sockets. So, because I'm not carrying them around with me all day long. I mean, when you work on a 65 Chevy or a 64 Ford, you don't need a lot of metrics. You need 10 millimeter. I'll admit that. We need a 10 millimeter. So, I need to figure out what size that is, and we'll figure that here in a second. Okay, so I got these 3 bolts off, and then I'm just doing a little bit of tapping here with a hammer to get the hub off. So, and it's coming off. All I did was a little bit of tapping. You want to beat on your hub. Good time to check it. See, it's got a lot of grease right here. It's got a big bearing in it. I've never done this before. Still seems good, though it's a little bit stiff. I might replace those while I'm at it. So, I guess you can, once this is like this, you need to turn your attention inside, oops, and get to the bolts in there that hold the axle to the inner sleeve there. That's where my other specialty tool came in. This is a wobble socket that I was told to get, 15 millimeter. And then I get these bolts off. It looks like there's 6 of them that hold it on, a lot of dirt around them. So that's next on the agenda. The axle spins, so you can just get to one at a time. And then I think that's what you need to do. So I'm going to get some gloves on and start working. Okay, I got all the bolts out of the CV axle's flange, and I gave it a little bit of a tap with the hammer to separate the two. I mean, there's really not much going on, see? So you're supposed to be able to just slide it to the side here and feed it out without having to take your steering linkage and a bunch of other shit off. But we'll see what happens here. Let me get the camera out of the way so I can get this done. It's a little hard to do when the camera's in the way. Bear with me here a moment. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to take the end link off of the sway bar in order to get it out, because the boot is kind of trapped between the shock absorber and the end link. Well, I'm going to take the shock off anyway, so I'll just take the shock off on this side. Wow, that sun's pretty bright. I'm going to take the shock off, and that will allow me to get it out, I think. So I'm going to do that, because I'm going to change the shocks out anyways. I've had these shocks sitting on the shelf for like 3 years now, and never put them on, so it's a good excuse to put them on. As you can see, this thing is completely wasted. It's like falling apart, like literally. The joint, it's like a ball and socket in there, and it's like one torque like one heavy torque away from breaking it off altogether. And the shock is no good. So, and I'm not real happy about the hub either. So I'm going to go look up some parts, and I already have the axle, so we'll see about hubs and shocks on the front of this as well. Alright, I went to the store and got a new hub. And then I got new shocks. I think this hub here is pretty much original to the car. You see how stiff that is? It's just like the grease is all gummed up in there. And it's not like you just change the bearing. So I got a new one. There's a new axle that I bought weeks ago. It's slightly different here on this end than the old one. It's got a round hub. You see a round one there. And, well, let's get it in and start working on it. Get this all in here. Get all this grease out of the way. Move that out of the way. I'm going to slide this in. Oh, my light died. Try the light out. There you are. So, just gotta line up the bolt holes. Okay, start threading in the bolts. I think I'm gonna get them all started before I try to tighten anyone down. Seemed like to be the prudent thing to do. So you can see how I got all the bolts just kind of threaded by. Well, I threaded them in my hand here. I didn't really get them all the way in. Figured that would be the safest thing to do before running them in with my impact here, which the camera's now in the way of doing. Alright. So. We should look up whether or not I need to have Loctite on these, but there wasn't any Loctite when they came out. Alright, oh, it doesn't want to turn. That's weird. That is certainly odd. Yeah, this has got this weird going on here. Doesn't feel right. Like, I'm gonna take them back out and see what I got. The new hub came with a new pinion nut. This is nice. And splined over the new CV axle nicely. What I'm doing as I'm going along here is I am just kind of making sure nothing is binding up. Because the one thing you don't want to do is find out it's binding up. You put it in four-wheel drive and you snap your brand new axle. Now, got the threads started. Okay, everything's still spinning nice and easy, like it's supposed to, which is good. Alright. Oh, that's interesting. The new pinion nut doesn't fit my 35 millimeter. I wonder if it's 36. Oh, yep, it's now 36 instead of the old one's 35. Interesting. Everything seems to be going in nice and smooth. Everything's still smooth. That's bottomed out. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. That's what I want. Now I just got to put the new shock in. So I didn't pick up anything fancy. I just got these O'Reilly specials. Everything has to be a freaking fight. Nothing is ever easy. There you go. Grab it. Shock bolts. These are like an inch longer than they need to be. I'm not sure if they're original or not. But, they probably aren't. Huh. It's fully stretched out. It doesn't want to move. Oh, I might have to jack up this control arm here to get the upper shock in bolt in. Okay, the new shock is in. Hub is in. Axle's in. Still spins nice and smooth. I had to take the pinion nut back off because I forgot the washer that goes behind it. Other than that, this side's ready to put the brake rotor and caliper back on, and then the tire. Okay, tire's back on. I still gotta torque the lug nuts. Make sure you do torque your lug nuts. And then I gotta road test it after I do the other side. So I'm gonna do the other side now. I'm gonna turn off the camera and turn on the music. So, because the other side's exactly like this side, really. So no point me showing you both sides at the same time. So if you have any other questions on this, hit the comments. And like I say, it looks like an expensive. It'd probably be an expensive job if I paid somebody else to do it. And really, it was only a couple-hour job. I could probably do the other one like in an hour now that I've done it. So, you know, why pay somebody else to do something I could do myself? You could do the same. You don't have to be a magician. You don't have to be a super brainy person. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You just got to get in there with your tools and buy a few spare, a few specialty tools. Nothing fancy. I got like 50 bucks in the sockets and stuff. That's all I really bought for this, really. And you could probably get away with not having those, but you'd make your job a little harder. So, you know, get on with it. Yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.